Hi, I'm Marie-Florence, a fellow at the Global Solutions Initiative, and I'm at the Global Solutions Summit 2026. Okay, I'm now joined with Deprose Muchena from South Africa. Welcome. Thank you for having the time joining us in this very insightful 2 days of the summit. I've just listened to you, and there were so many aspects that you said that really touched me. And one was, I felt that it's something about we need to rethink partnerships in order to be able to talk about a healthy multilateralism. Is that exactly? Do we need a new engineer of these partnerships, a new structure?
I agree with you. If we are going to have a healthy multilateralism, which is badly needed in a world that is collapsing in terms of global leadership, then we need to assess why partnerships in the past have failed. And they failed because we are operating from a template. I call it the center-periphery template. There is a center in the globe and there is the periphery. Africa for too long has been in the periphery, reduced into a producer of raw materials and a consumer of finished products. So value is being extracted from Africa, exported elsewhere, and what we remain with is a legacy of environmental degradation, enclave models of development, islands of effectiveness in a sea of chaos. And if we are to transition this world to a place where Africa becomes an equal partner, it means we must revise the rules of engagement, where Africa is not just taking rules, but it's also making rules, where value is captured and retained in value addition for minerals, and where value addition leads to industrialization so that you can tackle the triple burden of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. We do these things, then we can progress into the future with an Africa that is a genuine partner for economic development.
So there's a lot of analysis on what is actually not working good, but with the solution in mind that multilateralism is the answer. But you also mentioned something, and I thought it was very, very, very important, is about a healthy leadership. We have leaderships everywhere, but a healthy one, a global one that can actually lead this multilateral. Can you just give me some of the main ideas behind this really important aspect that you mentioned in the panel?
You see, global processes of development, especially in crisis moments, depend largely on leadership, by which I mean the ability of people at the top to mobilize broader constituencies of critical players in order to tackle global problems. And that is missing, because the traditional hegemonic leaders of the world have retreated into nationalism, country first, and over-regulation and over-policing of things that don't need to be over-policed. So we are leaving behind areas where global leadership is needed. COVID-19 was a very good example, where to rely on Costa Rica, on South Africa, on India, to reduce the cost of vaccines for broader access, because countries were providing and participating in vaccine nationalism. Today, different countries and blocks of countries are coming to Africa with deals that have nothing to do with centering Africa's urgency, Africa's communities which produce mines, and Africa's future. So as a result, you have this center-periphery dichotomy being reproduced. That's what we need to disrupt. And it takes leadership that is obsessed with equity, fairness, and values to establish that global terrain so that multilateralism is healthy, it flourishes, and it unites the world rather than divide it.
Okay, and so this whole theme about the summit is finding common ground. So we're all on the common ground idea of multilateralism and leadership as you described it. What would you say from a special African perspective? I'm going to call it African perspective, even if I know there are 54 countries. So these important African resilience, which is, I think, is a positive aspect. How can we bring this, or how can participants bring it to the table to make sure that we find this new global leadership?
Look, you mentioned the idea of resilience. The continent is resilient. We have survived droughts, we have survived slavery, colonialism, post-coloniality with dictatorships. We have survived deals that are unequal and fair. Every year in Mozambique in January there is a flood caused by climate reasons. And yet the population loses agricultural land and hectares of production of maize, but they keep going forward. COVID-19 came, decimated the working population, but newer versions of working people emerged to move forward. Structural adjustment program came, and it was presented as the only alternative for economic development. It produced the exact opposite. Africans continue to be on the march. This continent is on the move, and what we need to do is to enable speed of response, relevance of issues Africa is dealing with to local people in the communities, as well as impact, which means changes in the real lives of real Africans. We must test the quality of partnership of multilateralism investment on the degree to which it uplifts the conditions of our people, tackle unemployment, poverty, and inequality. That is the test to be passed.
Yeah, thank you for structuring this positive idea on how this exchange can be and how this relationship can be different and how we're going to be on a new path for multilateralism. I'm going positively home, and let's do step by step to get it done. Thank you.
Let's do it.
it.
Thank you so much. Okay.